Good morning, pretties. I'm in my bathroom and I'm makeup free, so it must be makeup day. Yay! Okay, so last week, I think it was last week, maybe the week before, I don't know, but I posted on Instagram and Facebook and I asked you guys to submit your makeup questions, and my gosh, you delivered. I got tons of awesome questions, and I finally had the opportunity yesterday to just really sort through them, boil them down, and figure out the categories that you're most interested in, and where there was a lot of overlap in topics. And it turns out that many of you want to know more about under eye circles, yes, and just brightening up your eye area a little bit more. And I totally get this. This is one of those things that, like, as we get older, over 40, the skin under our eyes starts to thin out, which shows more of the bluish veins and things, makes them more apparent. That skin under our eyes also is so delicate and is prone to looking crepey and to makeup kind of settling in there and not being a very attractive look overall. So I'm going to talk to you today about some tips and tricks that I use to make my under eye area look a little bit brighter. I'll share with you the products that I'm using. I don't really have any eye cream recommendations, if I'm being honest. If you guys have one, please feel free to put it in here. I use Rock Retinol Cream at night, and I also use it under my eyes, which I do feel helps with brightening, but it's not exactly an eye cream, although they do make an eye cream version, but I just use the regular Rock at night. And it's one of those things where you kind of have to build up, because if you have sensitive skin, which I do, this can be a little bit strong. So definitely start out maybe just putting it in your under eye area every other night or twice a week until you can start building up to being able to do it on a nightly basis. But I'm able to do it nightly now. It just takes a little bit of time for me to get past that sensitivity with it. But this stuff does work really well. I don't use an eye cream during the day because I find that most of them are a little bit oily, and the skin around my eyes tends to be a little oily anyway, so I don't want to do that because then my makeup kind of runs and it doesn't look so hot. So, all right, I'm going to show you what I've been doing lately, and one of the things that I've changed doing recently was I used to put my concealer on under my foundation, and now I do it on top of my foundation. So I'm going to start off putting my foundation on all over my face. I'm using the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation, and the color on this is Wheat, which is, I cannot read that, 3N2. It's a neutral color. I have neutral skin tone. And if you're curious about how to pick your foundation, I just went to Ulta and had them guide me through this process. And they took me in front of, and I think this is important, they took me in front of the windows in the front of the store where the natural light was coming in. And that really helped to see which foundation color worked best. Also, they tested it right here along my jawline. So I had foundation on already. They just kind of rubbed that off with a little bit of makeup remover and then tested it here. And if it blended perfectly, then that's the right color. I will say, though, that this color is more my summer color than winter. So I may go with something a little bit lighter this winter. So I can mix the two together between now and when I'm super pale this winter. But for now, I'm going to use this one. All right, so I'm going to start by applying it with my makeup brush. And this foundation brush is also It Cosmetics. Okay, it gets down in all of the little crevices. I do have a birthmark between my eyes, which you guys probably already saw, that red mark there. Some days it's a lot more prominent than others. As I get older and my skin gets thinner, it's something I do have to cover up every day. So as you can see, this foundation is pretty full coverage. So it takes care of a lot of the redness that I have around my nose, between my eyes, and just gives me a nice smooth canvas to start off with. I like to think of makeup as a painter, so I usually put on my primer to prep my canvas. And then my foundation just sort of smooths everything out. So you can see that that's kind of a miracle worker. This foundation is. It works awesome. So I know that under eye circles are really big right now because a lot of us aren't sleeping well. I thought it was just me. When the time change comes along, it messes with my circadian rhythms a little bit, I think. I don't know if it's maybe just the time of the year, but I thought it was just me. And then I saw one of my friends post on Facebook the other day saying that she had insomnia since the time changed. And I was like, yeah, I get that every year too. And tons of other people were saying the same thing. So I don't know, maybe it's just psychological, but I haven't been sleeping well lately. I've been waking up a lot at night, like at 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning, and I can't go back to sleep. Okay, so that's not helping the under eye circles at all. Add to that allergies. I don't know if you're aware of this, you probably already are, but allergy issues can really cause a lot of circles under your eyes too. So whenever I am doing my Flonase, I get a hair on my face. It's driving me crazy. When I'm doing Flonase on a daily basis or some kind of allergy antihistamine, I don't have as many dark circles or puffiness under my eyes as I do when I forget to do it. Okay, so next up we are going to do our concealer. I use and swear by It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. This stuff is amazing, and this tube will last you forever. So don't be alarmed by the price, because I'm telling you, on a cost per use basis, this stuff is worth its weight in gold. It's a full coverage concealer. The one tip I will tell you on this is that you want to squeeze it out on your hand first. I swear I have hair on everything today. The fun of doing a live, right? All right, so I just squeeze a small amount of this out onto my hand because it is such a thick concealer that a little bit of heat, like a little body heat, helps you to spread it out, and so it goes on a little more evenly. So I let the heat do its trick before putting it on. And then I have this little concealer brush, which I love. It's got this end to tap the concealer on, and then this end to sort of blend it in. You could also do this step with your fingers, which I know a lot of people love to do this concealer with their fingers simply because it is so thick and the heat does help it soak in a little bit better. But you can do this too, and it works just as well. So I'm going to start, I know this is an under eye concealer tutorial, but I'm going to start by doing a little bit of concealer between my eyes just to kind of help take care of my birthmark and make sure nothing shows through. And then I do it under my nose where all that redness happens to be, and I like to do a little tiny bit on my chin. All right, now for the under eye. You need just a little bit more of this. So in the under eye area, I'm going to tap this into the corner and then work my way up the sides. I know this looks like a lot of concealer, but we are going to blend, blend, blend. You'll have to forgive me. I'm doing this to camera, not in a mirror, so it's a little bit trickier. Just keeping it real. All right. So now I have all that tapped in, and I'll just kind of blend the rest of it off my hand. All right, so the next step is in the blending. So take the bigger brush to do this. And again, you can do this with your fingers, but I really like a brush, or you can use a sponge. Beauty blender sponges are great. Okay, you want to make sure you really get that up in the corner of your eye. And blend, blend, blend it out. You may have to go over this a couple times just to get it all blended evenly. All right. There we go, and another hair in my eye. Okay, so once you have it all blended in, then you're just going to set it with a little bit of loose powder. I should also mention, if you want to, you can do concealer on your eyelids. I have I'm just trying to find it right here. I have an eyelid primer too that I use sometimes before I put my eyeshadow on. The reason I'm not doing concealer on my eyelids today is because I do have lash extensions on. You have to be really careful around them. Anything with oils, sometimes foundations and things like that can cause them to fall off easier. So I try to avoid anything like that on my eyelids and just go with my eyeshadow, although concealing on your eyelids is perfectly fine, and in a lot of cases it evens that out and looks good. So the next step would be just to set your concealer. So you're going to want to take a little bit of powder, and I'm using, again, IT Cosmetics powder. Which one is this? Bye Bye Pores. So you're just going to want to tap a little bit of that on to a big fluffy brush and set that concealer under your eyes and anywhere else that you put it to. All right, that's it. And that should last you all day long. This concealer is waterproof also, so it's ideal for weddings if you're gonna cry. And the Estee Lauder foundation is also a long-wearing foundation. So both of these, once you do these 3 steps, that is going to last all day long, and then you can just apply your eyeshadow, your blush, your contour, and everything on top of that. So that's how I start my base makeup for the day. I would love to hear your tips and tricks, and I'll be covering different makeup topics every week for the next several weeks, and answering lots of questions that you guys already submitted. So thanks for tuning in today, and please feel free to leave your best tips and tricks in the comments. If you're watching this video, if you enjoyed it, please feel free to share it or give it a thumbs up. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Bye.